Hey people in YouTube land, Zach Hall back here, and today we got another Bible review for you. Today we're going to be looking at the Schuyler Treveris in the King James Version and the aniline calfskin in the saddle brown. And this was a newer release from evangelicalbible.com as far as the calfskin goes. The Treveris has been out for a few years now, and I've definitely been wanting to take a look at it just as far as it being a single column, paragraph King James. That piqued my interest. You don't see that very much in the publishing world. But the other thing is the layout that we're going to go over. This Bible I've used now for probably close to 2 months. And I gotta tell you, if you are someone who loves a single column paragraph Bible, but wish you could preach out of it and take some notes, this may be the Bible for you. I find the referencing system, the verses and everything in this, verses. This is not a reference edition, so there's not cross references in it. But as far as the verse numbers and how it's laid out, this is an extremely easy Bible to still follow along in church while optimizing the reading experience. So let's get into the review today and just start taking a look at it. So the cover here is this aniline calfskin. These are from Italy. These are high-end calfskins. They're very beautiful. The idea with these covers is that essentially the color that it comes to you is not the color it's going to be. So they say as you start working in these fibers, so as you start bending your cover and opening it from use, these fibers start to bend and flex, as you can see. They will start to turn into a richer, deeper patina color. And so patina is where that leather really ages and wears over years and gives it a weathered look. So it's going to age with you. So all the nicks and scratches that you give this cover, it's all going to show up. So as compared to maybe, you saw one of my last reviews here, a genuine leather, for example, this is not going to scratch, okay, or patina. This is pretty much going to be the same thing you get day in, day out. It's going to be a hard worker for you. Even a goatskin Bible, okay, you can scratch that cover, and it's not really going to get any scratches in a goatskin. Very resilient. That is not the idea with these covers. These covers are very thick from Schuyler. That's a very nice piece, but these are very easily scratched and manipulated. You can actually see it has a slight pull-up effect as well, so you can actually get some different colors out of it. That's because it is an oil tanned process here. Or this one actually might be a veg tan, but it does have a slight pull-up on there. And you can see it's got different colors. Even in some cases, it almost looks marbled. But the other thing is, and I'll just show you this again, I know this may freak some of you guys out, but for example, you see my thumbnail here, you can scratch that leather pretty easy. Now, if you do that, I've found that for the most part, you can rub most of this out because the oils are still fresh in there. And so you can normally get that to kind of rub back in over time. And so I've had that happen a few times on the Bible, and over time, eventually those oils kind of fill everything back in, and it doesn't go away completely, but you can tell it's a lot less pronounced than when I did it. So like if you're putting this thing in a bag, or if you happen to throw it across something, like if you put it in your car or something and it scratches something, it's going to show. It is going to show. So if that's something that maybe drives you crazy, this cover may not be the option for you, but I got to tell you, I love this cover. It is so smooth. Okay, it's a very smooth calfskin. It is full yap as well. So you can see it touches there. And actually on this, it actually slightly overlaps. Just a touch. You have beautiful thread, single stitch around the entire thing. It is perimeter tooled as well. Although, interestingly enough, when you get to the spine, that does not continue around the spine there. You have dry stamping or ghost stamping here on the spine. So it says Holy Bible, King James Version. And then you have the Schuyler logo dry stamped, which looks beautiful. Now you can kind of see on these ribs where that's already kind of patinaed. And so you can see that darker color underneath there. That's eventually, I think, what it is going to patina to. And where this is stamped as well, that's the color you'll kind of get to. Now you'll notice on Evangelical Bible's website that the saddle brown looks pretty dark. Like, and not a dark brown, but it looks like a milk chocolate. I could say what you're seeing on camera here is pretty close to what I see in person. So it's a little bit lighter of a color than maybe you see on the pictures on the Evangelical Bible. Honestly, like what this camera is probably showing you is probably closer to their Tuscany color. Now their Tuscany color is lighter than this. It's more of a tan, a beautiful tan color. But that's kind of where I think this lies, like a British tan is probably like where this brown is at, actually. And so as this patinas, it's going to get a richer, darker brown to it. Now, what I love about this is they used these beautiful red ribbons, and they did a red interior lining as well. This is a beautiful color scheme. I didn't know how I was going to like this when they sent it, but I've got to say I absolutely love it. So this is a red calf split liner that is just absolutely gorgeous. They do have a beautiful gilt gold line around the entire perimeter there. It is tabbed into the block here. Beautiful red in sheets. Everything here is just premium. Now, getting into the beginning matter here, you do get a Schuyler Bible card here. This is pretty standard with all your high-end publishers nowadays. Beautiful presentation pages. And then, on the desks, I think it changes colors there to black. Oh, no, here it is. It's still the same red color. So you guys can see that. Then you get your title page. I have noticed that on my edition, I don't know if this is standard for everybody, but without even trying, this front page here that says Holy Bible is going to get absolutely munched up. It's going to get swallowed in the book binding when you're opening it. So this has multiple creases on it already, and that's just going to be the nature of this Bible. So if you're someone who doesn't like that, I would highly encourage you maybe put some sticky notes and things that can reinforce that page on there as soon as you get it. Here's some of the information here. So the typesetting was done by 2K Denmark. Again, one of the best Bible typesetters in the world. It is printed in Youngblood, of course. And you can see the Concordance is from Holman Bible Publishers. They do use the higher 28 GSM paper from France. So it is a very nice paper as well. It's the same paper I think they use in the Cambridge Concord. This is your table of contents. So you got all the books and what page to begin. This is a highly glossy paper, and you can kind of see the streak shining here. Now it's not unbearable, but you can feel it, how slick the paper is. So it doesn't have a lot of texture to it or a lot of grip to it. So if you grab multiple pages together, it's kind of hard to flip through them, but just grabbing individual pages is not a problem. So what you're going to get in here is you are going to get the epistle dedicatory and the translators to the reader. So this first one right here, this is an introduction to the layout of the Schuyler Treveris and what they did. And so I'm going to go over this as well. But this, what they did was nothing short of amazing for the King James. I really love it. So you have the epistle dedicatory there first, and then the translators to the reader that follows. Great typesetting, laid out well. You can see you get a little bit of margin there too as well. And just love the King James translators to the reader. One of the most in-depth translators to the reader out there for any Bible version. And then you get into the book of Genesis here. So what they've done here is they've done a single column, beautiful 10-point font, very nice. The font is dark. It is line matched. You get beautiful ornamental drop caps here. And we'll look at that, zoom in a little bit. Your chapter numbers are in red, verse numbers in black. Now, guys, what I love about this version of the Schuyler, they took the King James, they put these verse numbers out here to make this an easy reading experience. So you can read this devotionally without even thinking about chapters and verses. However, if you are a preacher and you want to preach from this Bible, and I have preached from this, it was super easy, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's just take Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 for an example here, okay? So we all know the first verse, right? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. But then this 2 out here starts with a capital letter, because in the King James, every verse begins with a capital letter. So Schuyler used that to their advantage, and now all you have to do is when you go to a verse, you find the first capital letter. So verse 5. And is the beginning of verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And let's maybe find a harder one here. Verse 7, right? So you see it says, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That's the end of verse 6. This and, that's capitals, and God made the firmament. That's the beginning of verse 7. So all you need to do is come to this outer column, find your verse number. So let's see here, verse 12. And then we need to find our first capital. And the earth brought forth grass. So that's the beginning of verse 12. This part here is the end of verse 11. So when you're preaching, it's really easy, even if you're trying to look up references, because all you have to do is find the chapter, the verse, and then you just find the first capital. And so it's laid out beautifully. And the King James lended that ability to do that format because of how the King James was formatted. It had a capital letter at the beginning of each verse. And so I'll show you here in a traditional verse-by-verse layout of the King James. You see here every verse at the beginning is capitalized, whether it starts a sentence or not. It is capitalized. Every single verse in the King James Bible. So what that allowed Schuyler to do when they formatted this was to be able to give you an indicator to find that verse even quicker in a paragraph layout. So again, it's just so beautiful. So verse 30 here, okay? Over Israel and Samaria 20 and 2 years, period, capital, and Ahab. So that's the beginning of verse 30 there. So easy to be able to reference and find what you need as you're reading this Bible. You do get enough decent margin space here as well to take some light notes. So that's why I was saying if you're a preacher who maybe likes to take some notes in his Bible, but you love a paragraph, you want to be able to just read the Bible devotionally, but when you want it, you need to preach from it, they're there. I find following along in church is really easy. If a preacher has a particular text, or even if I'm looking up a reference that he's mentioned, still was really easy to follow along with the person who's preaching. So this was just a beautiful layout, guys. And I kind of delayed getting this mainly because I'm not that big of a fan of single column until recently. I've had the Clarion for a while, and that really kind of won me over. And then the Note Takers is a single column. So I was kind of flirting with some single columns. And then I just really did some really deep research into Schuyler, watched a ton of reviews on it, all the cool features that has in it, especially the referencing how this verse number works with devotional reading, preaching, pastoral work. This Bible could be the one for somebody. I definitely think so. Honestly, on any given day, this could be the one for me. I've used it. I have absolutely zero negative things to say about this Bible. Schuyler is not even paying me to do this review, but I've got to say, just from using it over the course of a month, I've preached from it, I've done my devotions from it, I've done catechism for my kids out of it, have had no problems using this Bible whatsoever. And so again, you see the red highlights here. Book and chapter summaries are in red, so they're easily to identify and distinguish from the text. Your chapter numbers are in red as well, so you know those are different from the verse numbers. Verse numbers are in black, set off to the left. And then what I love about this Bible too is that the center column gutter is far enough out that this never feels like it's swallowed to where you can't read it. And then one of the most beautiful things that Schuyler does is that in the Psalms and the Proverbs here, it is single column. And in the Psalms, it's actually verse by verse. So it's kind of funny how it switches in the narrative sections. It's paragraphed, but in the poetry, it's actually ends up being verse by verse, or you could say maybe stanza by stanza. But so here, this is actually really easy to find your verse number. So if you're preaching through Job, Psalms, Proverbs, any poetic book, it's easy to find your verses because the capital is right next to the verse number. The way they formatted it, every verse, it starts right where the verse number is. So you don't actually have to look across in the poetic settings. It's just right there for you. So it's very easy to preach through the poetical books. Laid out very nice. You do get a lot more margin space here, obviously, in the poetic books, just due to the nature of how it's formatted. So you can probably take some extra notes in those books for sure. This is a red letter edition as well. Now here we're working through the prophet Isaiah, and you can see the poetical structure in some of his book, and then he does have some narrative as well. So you see that switching back and forth. Now getting into the New Testament here. This is a red letter edition. And this is does not have self-pronunciation. So you see just, again, a beautiful dark font, line matched, easy to read. Just in the layout too, the size of this Bible is very manageable to carry. I mean, this is about 8.5 by 5.5 in that range. And so very easy to hold, very easy to carry, and yet you get this beautiful large font to read. I mean, they just hit it out of the park with this design. So here's the red letter for you. Deep shade of red, very easy to read, very consistent as well, printed throughout. That's the nice thing about the Treveris. Really, I've not noticed any print quality issues, so there's really been no fading from page to page. It's very consistent. And I'll show you here in Romans, where I took a couple of notes, just cross references that I put out in the margin, but that way you can kind of see how this works. So here I used a Pigment Micron 005 in black, so you can see no bleed through. Of course, you're going to have ghosting, but really it's not that bad. And I mean, if I wanted to, I personally could pick quite a bit of notes out in these margins, because I do write smaller. There you can kind of see it on the page. And again, just the 3 beautiful ribbons, easy to read. Guys, this Bible is, they hit this out of the park. They really did. Now, as you get to the end here, you hit Revelation, and then you get straight back into this Concordance back here. So there's the end of Revelation, get the Concordance, and that's a 3-column text. Now, I will admit, the Concordance is smaller font. This is probably a 5 to 6 point font back here. The bolded is probably close to an 8-point font. But the nice thing is the verse references are all in red. So you're able to distinguish that very quickly. Find the verse and chapter, and then you can read the reference next to it. Another cool thing is when you come to a proper noun or person in the Concordance too, you actually get a character breakdown, or at least some information about them as well. So I thought that was very cool. And this is a pretty thick concordance, especially considering it is triple column. So you do get quite a bit of references in here. And then at the back of this, you do get some quite a few line pages back here. So if you want to take more notes or record prayers or put hymns back here, whatever you want to do with that, you can. And then you get the Schuyler Bible maps as well. These are printed on a non-glossy cardstock paper. And these are very nice maps. Very nice maps. The colors are vibrant enough. They're not overdone. Everything is very easy to read. The text is printed at a good crispness and darkness. So it's not too dark. Everything's very easy to find and read. And then you do have an index to maps here at the back as well. And then you have a couple blank cardstock pages before you get to the end of the book. And then that tabbed in construction in the back as well. And that is it. And you kind of see the character here on the back of this as well. Just some of the scratches and stuff that's accumulated. And so I think Schuyler has absolutely hit it out of the park. Now, this is available on evangelicalbible.com right now for, I think it's about $255, $250. And of course, that's the cheapest place you're going to find it. Obviously, EV is the publisher for Schuyler. You may be able to find maybe a used one for less. I doubt that, but honestly, it's definitely worth picking up a brand new one. The yap on this thing is just amazing. Tooled line done well. The dry stamping, absolutely fantastic. The reading experience is just amazing. And maybe just give you a quick comparison here. Probably the most, I would say maybe the most famous, but a very well-known and well-used typesetting here is the long primer from R.L. Allen. And so you can kind of see the font comparison, and maybe let me get you maybe more of a narrative section here. There we go. So you can see the long primer, if I'm not mistaken, has a 10 or 11 point font, and this Schuyler has a 10-point font as well. So pretty close. The long primer to me is slightly bigger, just right off the bat to the eye. but it is not a huge difference, honestly, in person. So, I mean, just very, very well done, well made Bible there from Schuyler, especially considering it's on such thin paper, being a 28 GSM. Whereas I think the long primer here is printed on a 36 GSM paper. So, you know, again, I just don't think you can go wrong with it. This thing has been awesome to read from. Oh, there's some more notes that I took here in Deuteronomy. And there you go. So you can definitely take some notes in this. Definitely could highlight in it. I would definitely probably stick to gel highlighters. Don't use anything too crazy. Like I said, even on the pins, I use the 005 pigment microns. Those work just fine. You might be able to use maybe a mechanical pencil, or, you know, probably a Bic pen as well, or something like that. Maybe some of those other art pens, but make sure they're a thin nib and that a ton of ink doesn't come out of it. Because I could see if you use some pens that might bleed through a little bit, but other than that, this thing is just awesome. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And so again, to give you a size comparison here, I'll put the long primer underneath. So again, the Schuyler is a full yap, so the text block is not quite as big as the long primers, and it's definitely not as wide as the long primers either. So this Bible is definitely a little bit smaller than the long primer. With the yap, it kind of sticks out more, but it's really not as big as it seems. And so it's very easy to carry. It's thinner than the long primer as well, probably by about a ½ inch, maybe a quarter to a ½ inch less thick as well. And then just to put another size comparison here, here's the Cambridge Cameo as well. The Cameo is not a big Bible at all. It is about 7.5 by 5. So the Treveris really is a great carry to church option there for you as far as the Bible goes. Now, I hope they do this for the King James as well. For the ESV, which in the other translations, it's called the Strident instead of the Treveris. And so for the other translations, NASB, I think New King James, I think NIV and ESV, it's called the Strident. And what they just did with those versions, well, at least for the ESV for right now, they actually updated the paper to 36 GSM. So they upped it to the same thickness here as like the long primer paper. And so that gives it a little bit more of an easier reading experience, less show through, less ghosting, which honestly, guys, in person, this isn't terrible. Honestly, especially with the line matching. I mean, I have never been distracted by it, reading from it personally. But what they also did is they expanded the margin space out. I believe it was either an inch wider or a ½ inch wider, so that essentially it's a full inch to an inch and a quarter all the way around the text block. So that essentially that would be the idea of, you know, you could take notes out of it, preach out of it, read out of it, do everything. Now that edition is actually supplanting the older Strident, which is the exact same layout and dimensions and everything as like the Treveris. Obviously different pagination because it's different translation, but idea is the same. Layout is single column, verses out to the side there, just like here in the Treveris. But that edition, the 28 GSM paper, will be going away, and it will be replaced with that thicker one. So I don't know if they're going to do that with all translations. I would like to see the updated in the King James, but honestly, I would like to see them kind of keep both. I think there's room for both. Kind of like what they did with their Canterbury series, where you have the personal size, the wide margin, and like the mid size. I absolutely see that being a thing for the Treveris because of it being single column paragraph. It doesn't really compete with the Canterbury. If someone loves a double column, they're going to go for the Canterbury. So for those that love a single column, I think it'd be a great idea to have maybe more of a carrying size Treveris and then a wide margin Treveris to take notes and maybe leave at a desk or anything like that. But even for what I've seen, the new updated Strident that's bigger isn't crazy big. So you could still carry that one easily to church, I would think, and it wouldn't be a problem. So this is my review, guys, of the Schuyler Treveris. Very excited to get my hands on a Schuyler and to be able to use one in person. I have to say, between Schuyler, Allen, and Cambridge, Schuyler moved up in my rankings. I mean, Schuyler, I would probably put them at tied for first, maybe second. But honestly, the quality blew me away. I do think Schuyler's quality, their attention to detail, is probably number one, without a doubt. That is, I think that's just true. Anybody that owns a Schuyler probably could tell you that. But the attention to detail is just great. The corner work, absolutely amazing. The perimeter stitching, great. Gold gilding, perfect. The pages are chopped perfectly, cut perfectly. Gilding was great. It's consistent. I mean, it's just a great Bible. It's a great Bible. Thankful to own it and to have been using it and really just toting it all over the place to work, to church, preached out of it. And this cover is going to be able to take a beating, guys, for a lifetime and probably multiple lifetimes. It's a very thick calfskin. It's going to age with you, so it's going to grow with you. It's going to grow with you as you grow in your faith, as you grow in your walk with Christ. This Bible's going to age, and it's going to age beautifully. So I think it might be something you're interested in. Again, evangelicalbibles.com is the place to pick this up. Under Schuyler, you'll click them, go down to King James Version, down to the Treveris, and they have a bunch of options there. They have 3 styles of the aniline calfskin. They have their Tuscany, Saddle Brown, and then the Sienna. All those are different colors that you can check out on their website. But they also have this in goatskin in multiple different colors as well, and some different calfskins. So I know they have like imperial blue, they have an olive calfskin, olive green calfskin, they have a beautiful black goat skin with a full yap. They have editions that don't have full yap as well. Those are a little bit cheaper, so definitely give it a look. But if you guys have any questions or anything I wasn't covered in this video, please leave that down in the description or the comment section. I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. But thank you guys. Have a great night. Take care, and God bless.